Alright, so for today's hero video, it's going to be on Salty Merc. Now, Salty Merc is a backline Fury hero, a little archer person. Kind of reminds me of Rogue Bowman, but Fury, I guess. Now, stats-wise, I kind of screwed this up accidentally. Went to 5 stars instead of 3 stars, so I'm going to try and power it down. So attack-wise, you should be looking around 500 to 550 attack. Maybe even 500, I'd assume right there. Attack, so a decent attack, medium attack, not anything super powerful, but not low. Health, I'm not 7,000, 7,500. So actually decent health, but for a backline hero at least, not for a frontline, but for a backline hero, decent health. A high attack speed of 0.60, let's just say above average, not on average, not slightly above it, but it's definitely up there. It's a pretty good attack speed, and then a high energy gain. So altogether, the base attack may be a little lower, just based on the 5-star and level 70. So I'm second guessing, almost going 450, 500, but a decent attack, pretty good attack speed, and then high energy gain. Now for skill wise, headshot, Salty Merc fires an arrow at the enemy with the highest threat, dealing a bunch of damage and removing all of their threat. So this is kind of an interesting skill. So you're going to want to make sure you have this leveled up as high as you can, and remember this skill is one that scales with the skill level as well as star and gear and everything you put into the hero. So this does get pretty powerful, but it increases based on how much threat the enemy has. So it targets the enemy who's causing you the most trouble, and with an energy regeneration of 8, that's actually pretty nice, but targets the energy that's causing you the most trouble, takes away all their threats, so now that enemy isn't targeted anymore. But the goal of this skill is, as it says, headshot. It's to just kill him. That's the goal of this skill, is to take him out, and that's done. So this is a lower attack skill right now. Now remember, this skill does get a fire every about 13 seconds, just under that. So it's not going to be terribly powerful, but it does 3,000 damage right now. This will scale, obviously, as I level Salty Merc up more and upgrade the skill. But 3,000 attack, and then if the enemy has maximum threat, this will be dealing about 4,500. I'd assume it scales at about, for every percentage of threat, it does about 0.5% extra damage. So it targets the highest threat enemy, so you kind of oddly want the enemy to have a lot of threat, but then the point is for Salty Merc to just take them out. Another bonus that this does, just because this skill may not seem like it has a terribly high attack, the green skill, Prey Upon the Weak, Voidcaster has this also, deals 2% more damage to a target for every 1% health the target is missing. So if the target's at 50% life, all your attacks are going to be doing 100% damage more. Put that 100% damage more on a headshot. Yeah, stuff just stacks and gets kind of crazy here. So that's why this headshot may not seem to be as damaging at first. But if the enemy is weakened and Salty Merc targets them, they better watch out, because it's going to get kind of crazy. This is a level-based skill, so you need to make sure you have this up just so it actually works, because if it doesn't work, it's just a total failure. So I make sure to have this skill maxed out. Unlike, I don't yet, but I'm going to do that as soon as I get the chance. But make sure you max this skill out just so it can always work. And then the blue skill, Refocus Fire, whenever an enemy gets the most threat on their team, Salty Merc fires 3 arrows at them, dealing, at this point, about 500 damage. each, so it'll be 1,500 damage, which based on her, it's more than her regular attack. And this is only at level 20, that's how much damage that deals, so it will get dealing a lot more damage. But it's whenever an enemy gets the most threat on their team. So it's when the enemy kind of, I guess, reaches, they have more threat than the rest of their team. This gets kind of chaotic as Salty Merc just starts going at people. But so the way the threat works for the enemies is it kind of bases it on who's doing the most damage, who's causing the most problem. And so one hero will have their threat maxed out, and then the rest of the heroes will have a lower threat. So it's based on overall damage. So the refocus fire will do the attack on that enemy hero, and then if another enemy hero somehow surpasses them, Salty Merc will do it too. Or if Salty Merc uses a headshot on that same hero, and then because headshot takes away all of the threat once it's used, and so a different enemy will now have the highest threat, and so Salty Merc uses refocus fire on them. So it's kind of a nice combo. Then payout, this hero gains 50 energy and 1,065 health. Just at this point, the health will scale whenever the enemy with the most threat dies. So when the enemy with the most threat dies, maybe due to headshot, Salty Merc gets 50 energy up and gets right closer to using headshot again. Heroes that Salty Merc is pretty fun to use with, I'd say one, you got Mystic Punk, obviously, just because Mystic Punk likes to steal energy and distribute it to his allies. Salty Merc's not in a dire need for the energy, though, just because an energy generation of 8's already pretty high, and she has her little payout skill. So you're going to want to focus on a lot of heroes with either inspiration, boost that attack, as well as just kind of heroes to support Salty Merc. So maybe you want to think of Highwayman's really useful for that. The Grave Wrath. Just give Salty Merc more of a base attack. But Salty Merc is definitely a hero that deals a lot of damage. Can be really crazy for taking out enemies when they're kind of low, or just really turning the tide of the battle, because as soon as Salty Merc goes around throwing headshots around, anyone that's close to dying is probably going to die. And then later, Salty Merc does have an epic skill. I'll do that in a later video. But thanks for watching. If you have any questions or anything else, let me know.